Take care of this, slave. John chuckled smugly, further insulting me as he tossed his dress suit my way. The suit struck me, causing water to spill. Ah, wipe it up, will you, and bring me another glass of water. Drunk as he was, or perhaps because of it, John's true feelings became apparent. In his eyes, I was nothing more than a slave. I threw the dress suit into the laundry bag with all my might, only to notice something sticking out of the suit pocket. Unfolding the crinkly, tightly folded paper, he had instructed me to take care of it, and so I intended to do just that. Beyond wondering why such a thing existed, I felt as if this was my ticket to freedom, an escape from all the irritation and dissatisfaction I experienced with John. I rushed out of the house and promptly submitted the divorce notice to the office. My name is Vanessa Owen, currently 50 years old with 2 children, Nicole, my firstborn, followed by my son Matt. From the beginning of my relationship with John, I never got along with his parents. Despite their disapproval, I loved John and believed we could be happy together. We eloped, defying my parents' objections, and started living in a small apartment. However, John was perpetually unhappy about our elopement-style marriage, nagging about leaving my parents for this marriage. There was a good reason for our rushed marriage. Nicole was already on her way. Despite John's knowledge of this, my parents opposed the marriage mainly because John never formally introduced himself. However, I don't intend to blame John entirely, acknowledging my faults. I've never liked his parents, who constantly criticized me. Right now, with a child on the way, we should focus on the future rather than dwelling on the past. Despite my admonishments, John continued berating me, saying things like I should never have married you, or your cooking is worse compared to my mother's. With no place to return after our elopement, I endured John's nagging every day. Despite everything, John adored our children, and our kids, Nicole and Matt, kept our marriage together through high school. When Jan was promoted to department head and brought colleagues home, including a male subordinate named Rob and a female subordinate named Jenna Manning, our marital relationship deteriorated. Though John had a good reputation outside the house and was highly trusted by colleagues, our family barely functioned. At one gathering, John's words revealed his true feelings, saying he could divorce me anytime, but I wouldn't let him go. This admission, disguised as a joke, made me realize the depth of his dissatisfaction. Despite his words, John's subordinates praised our supposed good relationship, while John laughed, intoxicated, insulting, and bragging until he passed out. His subordinates helped with the cleanup. As we cleaned up in a friendly atmosphere, Jenna spoke up, revealing that the director actually praised me at work. Unbelievable! I laughed, and Gina chimed in, it's true. He always says his family gets along well. The president admires that too. The president values family in that regard. The director is always praising his family, so the president tells everyone else to learn from him. That kind of joke earlier only works if there's a good relationship, right? Gina, seeming a bit tipsy, happily chatted away about John's behavior at work. If that's true, that's good, I repeated, forcing a smile. I muttered under my breath, trust was long gone between us. I quickly realized that John was just saying those things to make himself look good. I've heard that good liars mix a bit of truth in their lies. Jan was probably deceiving his colleagues in the same way. I didn't know if it was his nature or a calculated move. But this made me truly despise Jan. I disliked how he shamelessly used the family as a facade. However, our children were still students, and I wanted them to go to college. As John said, think of the children. I couldn't divorce him. However, Jan had never brought up divorce either. We were just living life without making waves. In this life, our children grew up honest and cheerful. Nicole graduated from a local university and joined a nearby company. 3 years later, Matt, who had left home for university, also found a job locally and decided to return home. I was genuinely happy that the children were coming back, and when both became working adults, it felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. Then another happy event occurred. Mom, I'm thinking of getting married, Nicole, in her 3rd year of working, told me. Her partner was a senior at her company, Chris Adams, a fine young man who had spent his childhood overseas. He seemed very intelligent. John was happy about the marriage too, and Nickel quickly started preparing for it. The wedding was to be a casual garden wedding. Usually, I'd wear a formal dress, and Jan would wear a morning suit. Still, guests were told to dress casually, so it was decided that I would wear a simple dress, and John would be fine in his existing suit. Despite everything, I wanted to honor Nickel's special day, so I carefully chose a dress. I thought about getting a new suit for Jan, but he insisted that the one he already had was fine. Reluctantly, I brushed and mended John's suit, looking forward to the wedding. On the wedding day, blessed with good weather, the ceremony began, surrounded by beautiful greenery and flowers. Rob and Gina, John's colleagues who had always been kind to Nicole and Matt, attended the wedding, and I thanked them for coming. At the reception, a stand-up party, I spent a happy time greeting Nicole's friends and colleagues. Jan seemed to be enjoying himself, but perhaps getting too drunk, he started commanding, "Hey, Vanessa, get me a drink." Waiters were walking around the venue, and it was embarrassing that he had to call out to me, who was far away, instead of just looking around. "Mrs. Owen, I'll go for you." Rob and Gina supported me, entertaining John, especially Gina, who stayed by John's side like a wife. I felt uneasy about it but was busy greeting other guests, so I left John to them. It was a beautiful ceremony, and the wedding ended successfully. Gina took care of a heavily drunk Jan until the end when the taxi arrived. She said, "John, your taxi is here," and helped him into the car. I also got into the taxi and spoke to her. "Thank you, Gina. Take care." "No, thank you. Looks like it's going to be a long night. Take care." I took her words as a reference to the drunk John and laughed. However, her gaze was not on John but me. I felt strange again, but I said goodbye and returned home with Jan. Nicole and Matt went to the after-party, leaving just the two of us in the taxi. Jan seemed a bit more cheerful after a nap. When we got home, he walked in on his own. Usually, we didn't talk much, but Jan, more drunk than usual, couldn't stop talking. Finally, the kids are off our hands. I was worried about Nichols turning out like you, but I'm glad she got married. He belittled me as usual. John lay on the sofa. "Vanessa, water," and then he arrogantly ordered me around. I sighed inwardly and went to get in water. "Here's your water. Take off the suit if you're going to sleep. It'll get wrinkled." I said that and put the water on the table. John, getting up, said as he undressed, "You're really useful. You do everything. I can't believe you'd speak that way, even if you're drunk. Hey, slave, take care of this." John chuckled smugly, throwing his dress suit at me. The suit hit me, causing water to spill. "Ah, wipe it up, will you, and bring me another glass of water." Whether drunk or not, it must be his true feelings. John thought of me as a slave. I was initially angry, but the anger didn't last long. Seeing Jian snoring loudly in front of me, I surprisingly felt nothing. I realized that I had become indifferent to Jian, lacking even hatred or love. After picking up the suit that John had carelessly thrown aside, I noticed his trousers had also been discarded. Feeling irritated again, I stood before the bag for dry cleaning, angrily throwing the suit into the bag with all my strength. That's when I noticed something sticking out of the suit's pocket. "What?" I muttered to myself, surprised, and pulled it out. It was a piece of paper, crisply folded. As I unfolded it, I had to cover my mouth in shock. At that moment, I remembered Gina's words about the night being long, so that's what she meant. Realizing this, a smile involuntarily formed on my lips. He said to take care of it, so I should, right? I could hear the excitement in my voice. The piece of paper in front of me, which had come out of John's suit pocket, was a divorce notice already filled out by Jan. Yeah, that must be it. He meant for me to submit it, so I will. More than wondering why it was there, I felt like it was my ticket to freedom. It seemed like an escape from all my irritation and dissatisfaction with John. It was still 8 o'clock p.m., and the dry cleaners were still open. I grabbed the dry cleaning and the divorce notice, rushing out of the house. After dropping off the suit at the cleaners, I headed straight to the government office. Please take this. I went to the 24-hour service desk and, with a smile, handed over the hastily completed divorce notice. Then I hurriedly packed my things, taking only what I needed. I left the house with John still snoring loudly. For the time being, I decided to stay at a hotel, soaking in a large bath and sleeping in a comfortable bed until morning. However, the next morning, my phone had several missed calls, all from John. It surprised me that my number was still in John's phone. Yes, where are you? Just as I was thinking about it, another call came in. Reluctantly, I answered, and John's panicked voice came through. He must have been surprised to wake up and find me gone. After all, the spilled water is still there, a clear sign of something amiss. Where are you? Just as I was about to respond, John continued, We came home together, didn't we? The water is still spilled, and your clothes are gone. What's going on? From his words, it was clear he didn't remember what he had said the previous day. I sighed and said, You told me to send the suit to the cleaners, right? Well, there was a completed divorce notice in it. I thought that meant I should submit it, so I did. John erupted on the other end of the phone, yelling, What? How dare you do something so reckless? Do you realize what you've done? I was surprised by his reaction, but no matter how angry John got on the phone, it didn't bother me. You're so loud this early in the morning. I'm about to have breakfast at the buffet. Bye. Probably there was nothing to eat at home since I'd always prepared breakfast every morning. There was neither bread nor cereal stocked up. Nickel was likely at the hotel given as a wedding gift, and Matt wouldn't wake up until afternoon, having probably stayed out late drinking. John must be panicking alone in a house without food. With that thought, I savored my delicious breakfast. After breakfast, I immediately went to look for an apartment at a real estate agency. I didn't have the luxury of choice. I urgently needed to find a new place to live, but thankfully, I stumbled upon an apartment just a few blocks down from Nickel's new place. Moreover, the real estate agency was hiring part-time staff. I found both a home and a job that day and felt immensely grateful to the company. On my way back to the hotel, I received a call from Matt. Mom, where are you? Dad's making a fuss. I had been ignoring calls from John, so he must have forced Matt to call me. Matt's voice still sounded sleepy. I've divorced your father. I'm leaving the house, so take care. What? What do you mean? Matt sounded surprised by my words. Anyway, I needed to explain everything properly to my children. I decided to call Nickel that day and explain everything at the house. Why'd you suddenly call me here? Nickel looked anxious, understandably so. Yesterday was the peak of happiness, but today she was called to the house for something serious. She must have known it wasn't just a casual conversation. I felt sorry for her, but my parenting days were over. Being a parent is forever, but I want to live as a person, not as anyone's slave. I shouldn't feel ashamed for this. Even though I thought this, I couldn't shake off the guilt towards my children. A sudden divorce? What do you mean divorce? Both of them questioned me simultaneously, and even John, taking advantage of the situation, joined in. That can't be true, right? Convince her. Despite being the root cause of the issue, John played the victim. It was turning into a 3-against-1 situation. I wanted the children to understand that this divorce wasn't just my whim. All I did was submit the divorce papers that your father had already filled out. Why am I being treated like the villain when it was your father who had prepared them in the first place? Hearing this, Nicole and Matt turned their gazes to John. Caught off guard, John frantically searched for an excuse. A villain. Come on, that was just a joke, right? Who would actually submit that? A joke? Do you have any idea how much that joke has worn me down? Jen flinched at my loud voice. Nicole and Matt clammed up, exchanging looks. Besides, for a joke, it was too well prepared, don't you think? To me, it looked like something prepared to convince someone. John turned red and argued back, spitting out his words. His panicked state made the children realize something was amiss. I couldn't help but burst into laughter at John's behavior. No need to get so worked up. It's like you're admitting it's true. You set me up. You're the one who got angry at my deduction. Listening to our conversation, Nickel cautiously asked a question. What do you mean? I decided it was time to tell them everything. Well, you're not children anymore, so I have to tell you. Your father and Gina are having an affair. What are you talking about? John turned pale and stood up. Nickel and Matt looked shocked at first, but then directed looks of contempt at John. I found it strange. She used to call him director, but recently it's been John, and her words about our happy family felt insincere. That can't be. While she said she invited us, it felt like she was mocking us. A woman's intuition is often right. John was sweating unnaturally, unable to make any excuses. His behavior only confirmed my suspicions. While it was a shock, it was more about betrayal than lost love, which allowed me to keep my composure. But what really kept me sane was my role as a mother. To think she was invited to the wedding. I'm sorry, Mom, Nickel started crying. Jan looked hurt by her words, but he had no right to feel hurt, and Nickel shouldn't feel responsible. I only became sure of it yesterday. It's not your fault, Nicole. I comforted Nickel. As I said this, Matt sighed deeply, giving John a sharp look. I knew Mom and Dad weren't close, but this is too much. John's voice trembled pitifully. I had no choice. She kept pressuring me for a divorce, and I had to invite her to Nicole's wedding to convince her. Even the divorce papers, you used me. Otherwise, she said she'd tell the president about the affair. Anger made my fists tremble. After our force, she wanted to become John's next wife and take my place as Nicole's mother. So she had to attend the wedding. That's why he reluctantly invited her, planning to initiate the divorce afterward, showing her the completed divorce notice as proof. I never intended to really divorce you, it's true. Sure, you never intended to let go of your slave, did you? What are you saying? I never thought of you that way, John desperately pleaded, but Matt interjected. But Dad, you always said it would be easy to marry a woman who obeyed everything like Mom does. What? You always belittled Mom but never divorced her because you thought it was convenient for you. I stood up. Is there any reason I should stay married to this man? Nickel and Matt shook their heads firmly. Mom, you deserve to be free. That's right. And you'll always be our mom, even if Dad becomes a stranger. Nickel wiped her tears and smiled through her sniffles. After that, we left the house. Matt, not wanting to stay with John, decided to move into my apartment. The divorce papers were already submitted. We still had to sort out the property division, but I was relieved to distance myself from John. A month later, one of John's subordinates, Rob, visited the real estate agency. When I started working here, Aren't you Director Owen's wife, Rob? Thank you for coming to Nickel's wedding the other day. What brings you here today? Actually, I broke up with my girlfriend and thought about a fresh start. Maybe moving to a new house. Rob smiled awkwardly as he sat down in front of me. Oh, I see. I had heard about Rob's girlfriend a few times. He seemed to care for her deeply, but it must not have worked out. Wanting to cheer him up, I responded with a smile. We found a suitable place, but since it was lunchtime and the person in charge of viewings was out, we scheduled a viewing for another day. By the way, when did you start working here? Director didn't mention anything about it. No, really, we got divorced. What? But last week at the dinner with the president, John was talking about planning a family trip. Rob was shocked, and so was I. John was still spreading such nonsense. He would undoubtedly continue using the family to get closer to the president if I stayed silent. I decided to tell Rob the whole story. John and Gina. That's unbelievable. Rob turned pale. His reaction was oddly striking. He slowly opened his mouth. My girlfriend was Gina Manning. I gasped, not expecting that Rob and Gina had been dating. Rob muttered, I can't forgive them. I silently watched him. Mrs. Owen, I can't forgive the two of them. I'll inform the president. His determined gaze met my nod of agreement. I felt the same way. I refused to be manipulated by John any longer. Rob left the shop, saying he'd come back for the viewing another time. He had my contact information from Nicole's wedding. I was sure he would contact me eventually. That day after work, as I was heading home, Rob contacted me immediately. "Mrs. Owen," I told the president. His voice was much more energetic than the time we met, made me smile. The president was furious, betraying his family and having an affair with a subordinate. Both of them will be dealt with. Really? That's great. Now we won't be used by them anymore. Those two deceived everyone, the family, the staff, even the president. They were called into the president's office right after I left. Imagining the scene, I couldn't help but smile. Even though they were no longer a part of my life, I couldn't accept them getting away scot-free. "Thank you, Rob. You will surely find happiness." I sent this to Rob, feeling like it was something I also wanted to hear. Eventually, Jan and Dina's affairs spread throughout the company, especially John, who had always boasted about his happy family life, turned out to be a scoundrel who preyed on a subordinate. He was demoted 3 ranks from director to an ordinary employee. At home, he had no family waiting for him. For a man over 50, it would be interesting to see how he would live from now on. Gina resigned, probably due to the scrutiny. She was about 35 years old, a pitiful woman unemployed in her mid-30s after meddling with a married man. Their relationship also ended. Such an unhealthy affair was never going to last. Gina had pleaded with Rob, but he firmly rejected her. Feeling relieved, his reaction made me feel relieved too. Afterward, I continued to live peacefully with Matt in our apartment. 2 years later, Matt told me he was getting married. "Just when I thought I'd be alone," he said, "Mom, let's live together now. I'm looking forward to the birth of my grandchild." Living with Matt and his wife, Nicole, is also doing well as a mother of one. The fact our family keeps growing brings me joy. I reached out to my elderly parents whom I hadn't spoken to in a while, told them about the divorce. They said, "Bring the kids over sometime." And I felt endlessly sorry and grateful to them. I plan to make up for my past mistakes by being filial to my parents and continue to be a reliable mother, always there to help my children.